new video format for this video at least, because I wanted to talk about some video game controllers or console controllers, because I'm a bit of a weird fanatic about that. And even when playing games on the PC, I like to use controllers whenever possible, or at least if it's appropriate for the game. And I thought I can't just talk about it with random video footage in the background. I'd actually want to show the controllers. This isn't really talking about historical controllers or like, you know, a definitive guide. This is just ones I own that I can talk about. So let's start with the Mega Drive control pad, the 3-button one, because that's what I have. Specifically the model bundled in with the Mega Drive 2, because again that's what we have. So yeah, this is the first controller I ever used. Tie that with a rubber band because I like to do that for controllers. Uses, if I can find it, uses the old D9 standard used on the Master System and lots of other consoles and home computers, particularly British microcomputers, but probably wired differently, so I doubt you could use this on any of the British microcomputers. But yeah, it has all you need for the Mega Drive, ABC buttons, nice feeling, start for starting game, and a D-pad which I think has held up really well, even though it's similar to some other D-pads that I dislike. I don't know, I feel like it has a nice travel on it, and it just feels nice to use. I can very comfortably play the Mega Drive Sonic games, for example, with this D-pad, and it's just a nice feeling controller. I grip it a bit weirdly. I don't know if you're supposed to grip it like this, but that's just how I grip it. And it's one of the earlier controllers to have a handled design that you can grip. But yes. And in our house, we skipped a couple of console generations and went straight from the Mega Drive to the PS2, and the controllers all wrapped up, because this is before I decided to wrap my cords a bit better. So let's unwrap this and have a look at it properly. The PlayStation 2 DualShock 2 controller, as it says on there, if the focus will never work. But yes, this is the second controller I ever knew, and it's got all you need. Hold it close to the camera. Got all you need. It's a bit dusty because it's been left out in my room for ages, for months while I've been at uni. Yes, it's got all you need. 2 analog sticks, a D-pad which is perfectly serviceable. I've used worse. L and R buttons, L1 and L2 and R2, you know, 1 and 2. You know, it all feels very nice. The analog switch, which barely any PS2 games actually used anyway. And overall, it's a very standard controller. It feels quite nice. And actually, yeah, it's just a standard controller. Now, for comparison, another PS2 controller that's wrapped up, because that's how we kept them back in the day. This controller actually came in a bundle we got with the PS2, which also included a steering wheel controller, but that's in a cupboard far away. And I've knocked that PS2 controller off. Thankfully these are quite sturdy. This is a third-party one which actually hasn't been used in years, made by 4Gamers. And yeah, it's slightly bigger than the original DualShock 2, the handles are anyway, and all the buttons feel like you got to push them further in. But it does have a turbo button, which I never worked out how to use when I was younger. Analog sticks, they feel a little bit weirder, but again, this controller hasn't really been used much. And the D-pad, kind of like the Mega Drives, but it feels like you can push the whole thing in. That's not good. Shoulder buttons feel okay, but the thing I remember about this controller in particular is the rumble feature. It rumbles really hard, like some controllers are a nice sort of subtle rumble, but this one shakes really hard, and therefore felt quite uncomfortable if you're playing a game with lots of rumble. When I'm playing by myself, I just use the DualShock 2, it feels much nicer than this. But this was an option for player 2 in the house. And I was thinking of going in a roughly chronological order, but But the DualShock 2 does lead us right onto the DualShock 3. It's very similar. It's, in fact, almost the same. Just save for the analog button being this and it being wireless using micro USB. But annoyingly, you can't just plug it into any outlet. You have to plug it into something which actually provides data, which is annoying, which means you can only really charge it from a PS3 or a computer. This is all out of charge because the oh no, it has a little bit of charge because the PS3 hasn't really been used. I really hope this hasn't turned on the PS3 downstairs. Hasn't really been used while I was at uni. No, it's something weird. I don't get on with these analog sticks as well as I used to. Oh, it has turned on the PS3 downstairs. Wonderful. I better not press any of the buttons, but you know, it all feels about the same as the DualShock 2, apart from the triggers. Except they're not triggers, they're just buttons. They're just digital buttons that are out of focus and they feel horrible and I hate using them. Seriously, I absolutely hate these because they're curved downwards. They don't feel comfortable to hold in. So, I don't know, I like the controller's fine, but I just prefer other controllers. But to go back a console generation, although it's a newer one, the GameCube controller, specifically the Smash 4 version. This is a wonderful controller. I don't have a GameCube, but I can use it on the Wii, and I have an adapter to use it on the PS3, the PC, for the Dolphin emulator, and such things. It's a wonderful controller, really nice feeling, analog stick. The C stick as well feels nice. And you got your buttons, triggers, Z button and D-pad. The D-pad's a little bit rubbish. Feels all spongy and tiny, but no GameCube game uses the D-pad. But L and R analog triggers with lots of travel, satisfying clicks. The way the buttons are laid out, you know, A being the button you use the most, X and Y being used less. It's a really nice controller. It only has the start button, no select or anything, but you know, and Z. I don't know why there's only the one Z, but it's a really nice controller. Works really well for GameCube games, and is nice for Smash. Although I don't use it for Smash 4, even though it's the Smash 4 version, because I don't have the Wii U to GameCube adapter. Look, but keeping with Nintendo, the Wii Remote, the Zelda Wii Remote Plus, because that's the one I use most of the time. With the wrist strap still on because I actually use it when I play Wii games still. It just feels wrong not to. I don't know why. But yes, this is the Wii Remote. Standard with the Wii. You do motion controls with it, and this has the Motion Plus, so it's better. And, well, because I used the Wii a lot, it was my main console that generation. Yes, we have a PS3, but I mainly used it for the Sonic games that weren't out on the Wii. This was my main console during the 7th generation, so I got really used to using the Wii Remote. And noticed the rechargeable battery, because these used AA's, which, well, they had to get replaced fairly often. So eventually, after I got the Wii U, I got a rechargeable battery pack that also had a stand which could charge the gamepad, which we'll come on to shortly. But yeah. They also came with a Wii Remote jacket, but no one uses those anymore. But it's got what you could want for playing motion control games, and it's got enough for simpler 2D platformers by using the 1 and 2 buttons, like on the Nintendo Entertainment System controller, which I obviously don't have because the Mega Drive is the earliest controller I have. But what if you wanted analog control? Enter the nunchuck, which plugs into the Wii Remote. Like so, and now you have an analog stick and 2 extra buttons, which are also out of focus. I don't know how much of this video is out of focus. I'm not going to fix that because I can't. But yes, this was the standard way of playing games on the Wii. You know, I can quite happily play things like Mario Galaxy, Sonic Colors with this setup. The analog stick feels good, feels fine. It has the same octagonal cutout of the GameCube, makes it easier for 2D sections. It also has some motion control stuff in it as well. Not quite as much as the Wii. I've got a name label on there because I used to take it to friends' houses. And overall, it's a relatively nice thing. But if you wanted a more traditional controller for the Wii and weren't using the GameCube controller, you could plug in the classic controller, set the Wii remote down, and just use the classic controller. Now this is my controller for Smash Brothers, or Smash 4 anyway. It's a small little thing, like, you know, it's even smaller, I think, than the Mega Drive controller, yeah. But it's a small little thing, slightly modelled off the Super Nintendo controller, with a fairly nice D-pad, 2 nice analog sticks, ABXY, analog L and R buttons that never really got used, ZL and ZR little clicky buttons, and a weird thing here that does nothing. Theorised that they were originally going to release a sort of clip where you sort of clip the Wii remote onto it, so it would be a bit more convenient. But yeah, this is actually a really nice controller. I picked this up quite a while ago when I started getting Virtual Console games on my Wii. And I specifically picked up this version, not the Pro, because this was cheaper, but I think I'm quite happy that I went for the original. Like, I've seen the Pro, and yes, it in some ways looks nicer, but I don't know, I really like this one. Although sometimes some games want you to use ZR instead of R, like Super Mario 3D World, you have to use ZR to a ground pound instead of Z. You know, you have to use the Z versions rather than the normal ones, which is a bit awkward. But overall, quite nice. I really like this. It's my main way of playing Smash. But what if you wanted a weird accessory for the Wii? Enter the Zapper, which is just a massive plastic housing for a Wii remote and nunchuck. I assembled this off screen beforehand because it's a bit awkward to set up if we can manage to open this up. Yeah, you have to wrap the nunchuck cable inside it, and it all looks kind of awkward. Jump cut from wherever I cut it from. Yes, apparently I reached a video size limit on my phone. Wonderful, my old phone, wonderful. But yes, this is the Zapper. Awkwardly put the nunchuck in, and it was mainly only really useful for Link's crossbow training, which I actually haven't played yet. This is originally my sister's Wii Zapper and copy of Link's crossbow training that she gave me that I haven't actually used yet. But considering you can hold it a bit more steadily, I'll move the camera up a bit. You can hold it a bit more steadily than just a Wii remote by itself. And you know, you have a trigger, which just is a pass through to the B button, but yeah, it's just another plastic contraption for Nintendo to sell us for the Wii. Not quite as useless as, say, those third-party tennis ones. But what if you wanted a more standard controller for that console generation? How about the 360 controller, which I only use for PC because I don't have any Xbox consoles at all. This is the Xbox 360 controller. Pretty much the standard for PC gaming if you're using a controller, although Xbox One does the same job. And, truth be told, I really like this controller for the most part. Probably just because I've gotten so used to it. But the analog sticks feel just right. The buttons are fairly nice, although I kind of prefer Nintendo buttons sometimes. D-pad is awful, quite frankly awful. I couldn't play anything with this thing. It's just terrible. But triggers, analog triggers, really nice feeling. Nice clicky little bumpers. Overall, and just comfortable on the hand. Overall, I really like this controller. It's the standard for playing PC games. Got a USB and all that. Jump cut. I had to insert an SD card back into this old phone because I ran out of space. How wonderful. But let's continue. Hopefully I can stitch together all the footage. So, as I was going to say in the previous recordings, what if you wanted something a bit more ridiculous to play your games with? Enter the Wii U gamepad. Oh, and you can see my reflection. And you can see my lovely Sonic Mania poster in the background. And a Zelda poster and a Winnie the Pooh print I've had for years. And the tripod that my camera, well, my phone, old phone, is on. Because this is very glossy and reflective. Yes, it's the Wii U gamepad, the standard controller for the Wii U. And actually, I quite like it. It's got a touch screen, capacitive, not resistive, which means you can use a stylus. great for Mario Maker. It's got lots of things in it actually. It's got motion controls, it's got a camera, a microphone, it's got you can use it as a TV remote, it's got buttons, nice buttons, decent D-pad, decent analog sticks, not the best D-pad or analog sticks. It's got a weird expansion port that was never used. It's got a weird screw hole that was probably only used for demo units. It's got dust and muck on it. No, that's not standard. Got L and R, ZL and ZR. These are just buttons, not triggers, but they feel very nice. I think it's got infrared. It's got volumes, it's got speakers, it's got charger port, which is very important because the battery life on this is awful. It's got headphones. It's got NFC for Amiibo. All my Amiibo are boxed up. And this one has Zelda writing because that's the version of the Wii U I bought. And yeah, the gamepad is massive, but I like it a lot. I play most of my Wii U games with it. The only things I don't really are if I'm playing multiplayer and someone else has the gamepad, or Smash Bros. That's about it. And actually, SNES games on the Virtual Console. Mega Man X, my control scheme hurts my hands if I use this, but classic controller works fine for that. I don't have a Wii U Pro controller, because those were fine for me. What I do have is a Nintendo Switch with the Joy-Con controllers, which can be used in various configurations, including on the tablet itself, separate like a Wii Remote and Nunchuck, sideways, which they're tiny but can allow for two-player play, and in a grip like this, which makes them feel more like a normal controller. And they're small, they're teeny tiny little things, but I actually really like these things. They're pretty comfortable to hold. I thought I wouldn't like this D-pad, but I actually do quite like it. Puyo Puyo Tetris is wonderful with this thing. It's got all your normal buttons and analog sticks, although analog sticks with small travel because it's, you know, got a handheld, plus and minus, L, R, ZL, ZR, which again are still quickie buttons. It's got a release button, important for sliding it off that. You've got a home button here, a capture button here for screenshots, and the right Joy-Con has an infrared camera thingy, and we've got SL and SR buttons. There's a loud noise outside the house. I forgot to close the window between recordings. Yes, SL and SR buttons for if you want to do two-player games. And you've got wrist straps, which come on very easily and also make it a bit more bulky, and SL and SR are easier to access, or you can use it for arms, but I just hold them anyway, not that I own arms. But they are quite awkward to remove, they're very stiff. Oh, I did that quite easily. Hopefully I haven't damaged the controller, the Joy-Con. But frankly, my left Joy-Con has a slight crack, or whatever, in the clip, which means I can pull it out of the system without using the release button, but that's why I don't want to use the wrist strap on it. But for the Switch, I also have the Pro controller, and what a wonderful controller this is. Oh, also the Joy-Con has NFC Amiibo stuff on there as well, as does this. Oh, both this and the Joy-Con also have the HD rumble, which is just rumble that's a bit nicer and higher fidelity. This is dusty because I left it outside, well, not outside, but just out. And it's a wonderful controller, just the right weight, really comfortable, decent D-pad, again not the best, but I've been spoiled by the 3DS. Really nice buttons, all the same buttons on the thing. More chunky buttons for up here on the shoulders, makes Splatoon really good. Really nice analog sticks, USB-C, you know, all the motion controls and all that. And it controls PC games really well. You can connect it via Bluetooth, and Steam has official configurations for it, which makes it really good for playing PC games now. And I'm starting to use it over the 360 controller. But yes, that was a controller video. I just like talking about video game controllers, and hopefully I can stitch all this footage together after all of the jump cuts. This is going to be fun to edit. And there appears to be a plane taking off somewhere. I'm going to cut the video now.